Hi, welcome to this tutorial series on Spring IOC. This tutorial series is about the different types of annotation in Spring IOC. So I'm going to cover all different annotations and the real-time use of different annotations. So I already covered some of the stereo annotations. I covered the component annotations and service annotation in my last video. So I had created a test class and I was able to inject the service class and model class with stereo annotation. So this video is about the repository annotation. So when we have a repository layer which connect with the database, so to inject those all different repository classes, DO classes, we generally use repository annotation. So let's create a package here. So I don't have any repository class, any DO classes, so I'm going to create a package. So it should be com.ioc.dao, and let's create a interface here. So I have a model class, project model class, so I'm going to create DAO for project model. So it should be project DAO. So this should be an interface. So I'm going to create an interface, and then I'm going to use the abstractions to create different operation and then override the different DO methods. So let's create a simple method here. Public void save. So let's pass the project here. So this method will be used to save the project model. So I'm not going to interact with the DB here, but I'm going to use the some has map to store the project class object. So let's create an implementation DO in implementation class, project DO IMPL. So here we have to implement a project DO. So it should be implements, and let's override the method, so which is save method. So let's create a map here. So here we can pass project, and let's put the value as string. So I'm going to create a hash map, and this should be hash map. So let's import the package, and in my save function I'm going to save the project object into map. So this should be put map.put. So we can pass the project here, and pass project first, and should be project. Okay, so here we need to use the repository annotation to inject this DO class. So repository annotation we should use with our DO classes. Now let's import the package. So let's give some custom name to this repository. So let's give it as project DAO. Okay, so we can return the map here from this function, because to test it we can return the map. So it should be map. So let's return it from here. It should be map project and string, and we can let's return the map. Okay, so uh, so we can test it now. So I have added the repository annotation to inject this class. So we have the project service, project DO class which will interact with the DB, and then we will have the implementation class where we have a save method to save the particular project. So let's test it out. In As I explained in my last videos, also we had to provide the component scan into a spring.xml file, which is used to provide the particular common package where we have all the annotations. So I have com.ioc package. So let's create the object here. So we can use the service class to call the DO classes. Right now, if you see, we in our service classes we don't have any implementation to call the DO class. So we can create the same function here in our service class. So let's create the same function, and then we can call the DO class from the service classes. So let's override the method. So it should be this one. So here we can pass project DAO as project DAO, and we can call the method of the DAO from, and we can return the map from here. So we can call the method save of the DAO, and let's pass this project here. Okay, there are some errors. Okay, we need to actually, here we have not passed this parameter, so let's pass it here. Okay, so we have the service classes, and we have the model class and DO classes, implementation classes, and we have the test class also. So we can test it now. First we can create the object of project class, project model class. So project model class, I am using component annotation, so we can inject it, and let's give some property for project. Let's say let's give the private string ID or name, and we can provide a setter and getter methods. Okay, so now we are good to go. We can test it. First we can create the object of project class. So we can get it from context. So this should be project, and this should be project. So the bean ID is, if you see our project class, so the bean ID is this. So let's pass it here. So it should be project, and after that we can create the object of service class. So the service, if we see our service implementation class, the ID is project service. So that's why I'm passing project service here. And now we can create the object of our DO class. which is projects DAO. So it should be DAO, and it should be project DAO IMPL. So if we see our DAO classes, the bean ID that I have given is project DAO. So let's pass it out. So now we can call the method of the service class. So let's call the method service dot save. So there we have to pass project DAO. So let's change this to project DAO and pass the project. So this should return us a map. So let's return a map here, map of project and string. And for project we can set some name. So we can set the name as test project, should be map. So we can iterate the map and then we can print the object. So can use for each loop for to iterate it. So it should be project and map. So we can use map dot keyset, and here we can simply print the object property. So let's print it out. Okay, so now we can test it. So let's run it. So it is working. So what I have did is actually I created the DAO layer, I created the service layer, so that what we generally follow. So we should have a service layer and DAO layer. And so I'm using for service layer, I'm using service annotation, which is the stereo annotation to inject the service classes, and DAO I'm using repository annotation to inject the DAO classes, and for model I'm using component annotation to inject the model class. To it mean inject mean to create the object of model class. So after that I'm returning the map, and then uh, after I'm iterating the map, and then I'm able to get the object. And here the object, if we see the object that we are setting, the name is test project, so it is successfully we are getting that particular object from the map. So in this way we can inject our service classes, component and DO classes using different stereo annotations. So that's all for this video. In my next couple of video I'm going to discuss about different other annotations of Spring IOC. So thanks for watching, thanks for your time. Bye bye.